Hey YouTubers, today I'm going to show you how I built this tool. It's not hard to build and it's not expensive to build if you put a lot of paddles on single stage Toro snow blowers. Might be worth a look. So I'll show you what I did and how it works. First, took a regular 1/2 inch washer and then I put it on the drill press with my unibit and opened it up till it was the right diameter to fit over the top of those special connectors that Toro uses on their single stage snow blowers. And I'll show you. Just open that up and then I ground the end of it down so I'd have a little more surface to weld on. Welded onto a cheap pair of Harbor Freight needle nose vice grips, the bigger set, and I'll show you how it works. I'll demonstrate how this works. This is one I'd already done, but I take my T25 Torx wrench or Torx driver, and you, of course, as you know, have to work around and find the hole. And once I can get that in the hole where it needs to be, I can remove the wrench or the driver and place this over it and then get that work back into the hole. And once I've got it lined up and in the hole, I can just clamp this down and that pulls it in. The fastener still turns inside of it, and then just like any other time you replace one of these, another set of small needle nose vice grips works just perfect. And sometimes you need a flashlight, but you can take that nut and reach in behind there and either use your hand driver, or I usually follow them up with my impact driver just to make sure they're good and tight. But you can work that nut in there in just the right spot and then just tighten it up and it works just fine. So if you do a lot of these Toros, I buy these, recondition them, and then resell them. And so, not an expensive tool. I think these probably $5 or $6 at Harbor Freight, and then just a washer and about 10-15 minutes of my time. Thought I would share. Something else that's helpful, I see a lot of guys do this on the bed of, or on the tailgate of their pickup truck. I've got a work table that I use, but maybe you've got a workbench or something. Anyway, if you got something you can clamp it down to, just a 2x4 or 2x2 clamp down there, because when you're pushing this in, you really need to push some. Now mine's on a rolling table, so I have to put my foot by the wheel, but then you can push against it. The other thing that I find helpful, if you've got some kind of a, well, that doesn't look very good, got some kind of a flashlight that's small and thin that you can fish down in there to give you a little bit more light when you put that nut on. But the tool seems to work real good. You can see I got everything drawn up just fine. So I think it's worth the 15 minutes I spent building it. Thank you. The first one of these I made, I ended up welding the washer on the side. And that really didn't do much more than clamping vice grips on that rubber paddle, just like a lot of videos show. So took another one, a little bit bigger one, and I actually welded it on the inside, on the jaws, rather than the side. So that when I clamp this down, it's pushing the washer, the whole washer around that anchor that's on the Toro snow blowers. So if you decide to make one of these, be sure and weld the washer on the inside, on the jaw, rather than alongside of the jaw. That way when you squeeze it down, the whole washer is going to get compressed against the rubber and push that down. So just that little bit, it's not very much, it's just the thickness of the washer, but that's just enough of what you need to get that nut started on that Toro anchor. So be sure and put it on the jaw side. Should work out much, much better.